Yes, God. This is a continuation of my last talk about God you hate, child abuse. This part continuing with the breakdown of where in what part of the world common child abuse, what kind of common um, things that they normally abuse the children with, like I mentioned in Africa or in the so-called black communities, it seems they beat their children, and beating is something that they practice a lot. Even though yes, there's other things like dragging, verbally abusing, and whatnot, and I guess some sex sexual abuse, pedophilia, you know. But beating children is their most um, thing they do. They break the child like that. And I go to Asia or the Middle East, so-called Middle East, in the Asiatic people. It seems that they prefer the pedophilia or um, raping of little boys. Um, they rape these boys when they are little, from the ages of 1 or 2. I, because they start their time in madrasa at the age of 2. So yeah, they abuse the kids from a very early age, from the less than 10 years old. These men, you know, and it turned out to be something that they prefer a lot in Asia. Um, they also again practice drinking, drugging, even poisoning, even chopping off their hands, pouring acid in their eyes, on themselves so that they can beg for money on the streets. Yeah, this kind of behaviors. And I went to Europe. Um, Europe is known for its drugging, alcoholism. Um, they drug the kids and they give them alcohol at a very young age and give them drugs at a very young age, and they grow up psychopathically like that. Another large scale child abuse is that people blindly or willful blindness or willful deafness, they turn the other eye, they turn the other cheek, just look away, don't pretend that they don't see it. It's the cruelty that we show to animals. We teach our kids to be psychopaths or killers at a very young age, whereby they grow up knowing how a chicken, a lamb, or um, and religious people promote this ritual, just like in the so-called witch doctors of Africa or witch doctors of Haiti, whatever they want to call these people. But this is the same ritual that the Muslims, Christians perform of sacrifice, of killing of completely innocent animals that did nothing to them but try to give them a better life. Now, for you who don't understand the cycle of life, we are here purposely to experience, and we do things with nature. Nature works with us. We work with nature. That's the idea. We supposed to provide our energy to nature, and nature works with the same energy we promote. And animals do a very, very, very important part of life. They have a very part to play in life, in this cycle of life. And it sickens me to hear people saying things like the the world is not a good place. The world is not is a very dangerous place. The world is so and so a negative about the world, and putting everything that's in the world into saying that the world, weather, nature, that is not good. The truth is that it's not the world that is a problem. It's the humans that are the problem. You've never found a monkey or a lion trying to take the whole jungle to be a leopard, or to try to keep the whole jungle to itself, or try to stop other animals from eating on the same fruit tree. It's just humans that make these things, that do this. As the man in the Matrix says, humans have become a, a, a virus that is affecting the way of life for other animals and the rest of humanity, because the so-called human is now against nature, is working against nature, in that he will raise a little duck or a little chicken for the purposely of killing this animal before its end of its life, or in the middle of its life, and he takes joy in doing this. And we teach our kids to slaughter these chickens, and the Muslims do it, and Christians, so-called Christian legends, do it. Buddhists, whatever these people, maybe Buddhists not so much, but there's some who, of course, kills and kill animals, and it's humanity who has taken this killing and pillaging and raping of nature that has brought the world to turn on it, because the energy they're sending out is unacceptable. It's becoming so much negative because they enforce their negative energies with their laws and enforce it. So nature has to fight back. Nature has to cry out with the pain that it's been inflicted on it. Because when you kill a chicken, or when you kill an animal, a cow, or whatever, you think that these animals are there for you to enjoy and eat. The truth is, if I put a plate of a human meat, and I put it on the same plate as a human, as a cow or a sheep, prepared it to the same spices and herbs that you mix in it so you can hide that deafness that has occurred, you still wouldn't tell which one is human and which one is a goat or a cow, because you just enjoy the taste of blood or flesh. This is the other addiction that we were introduced to, a very dangerous one, because this one not only does it bring us illnesses and mental stability, it actually changes our DNAs. We are the animals that still drink milk from other cows, from other animals. And yet every animal is designed to feed on its mother's milk, but we steal the milk from the young cows and the goats so we can have our addiction fulfilled. Well, there is now we have. That's why we have now, over the years, have gotten ourselves into a mutant. We have mutant genes in some of the humans in the world that have a mutant that they can digest these other animals. So just like some humans will digest, will have a mutant if they keep on eating human flesh, the mutant in the parents passes on to the next infant. Now, is there a reason to eating and keeping this tradition of eating other animals? No. No. You should not eat other animals, because when they get in your system, they are there to survive. The body has to survive. That's why they call the body the devil. The devil is desire. It has to stay. It wants to stay alive. The cells in the body work just like that's the the, the other side of God, the physical, the matter that God made so that it can live and experience that energy, that force, that energy is experiencing, and it made this suit or this body, whatever, chicken, man, cow, insect, is experiencing. But when you digest these animals, remember every meat or every flesh has to go back to nothingness. You say you go to the toilet. That's why when you eat, the food goes in the stomach. When it gets in the stomach, it's minerals and acids and proteins and whatever they are taken out. But guess what? There is another predator that you've entered in your system, the one that gets rid of dead tissue or gets rid of dead carcass. There is animals designed for that. You might not see them, but most of you know it, that insects or creatures that have to get rid of completely. If you leave a piece of meat outside, it will rot, and if you keep it there for a long time, that's why we keep our dead people in the ground, so that the ground can try to we cannot see what's going on, but we both know that the ground is everything. The insect that is supposed to get rid of that whole piece of meat to reach the point where it is like magic, it disappears from a big fresh carcass or a big fresh piece of animal that was killed to a point where there's left bones and then to the lowest form whereby you can't even see a thing. Give it a few years. Scientists cannot, unless if they want to lie to you about this, but they know that you cannot be there for the rest of your life. Sooner or later, nature finds a way of getting that matter back to where it belongs. Even if it means to send different creatures that will come and take it, it will, to dry to the point that it turns into a rock or very hard that you cannot even know if it was a human or something else. That being said, children are taught to live like this. And that's why we have to give credit to people of old, the historian, the people of our history, our great ones. They learned about nature, and they understood about nature, how nature works, and how the sun comes out, and how the moon comes in, how the moon and the sun is almost the same thing, is still in the same day, and that moon and the sun is just like mother and son, the positive and the negative, whatever you want to call it. And they've passed on this knowledge. It's the same thing that's passed on for all so-called religious institutions, whereby they're telling you about, even science, it will teach you about cells and how energy cells operate. They have, as a human body is the same thing as the earth. The earth is the same thing as the human body. It operates just like a human or just like any other animal. The earth has itself a sun and the moon, the day and the night, which is the positive and the negative, and it has the spirit or the energy that flows around it. It's the same thing with the human body. It has the positive and the negative. Now, it's about how much information you give to the human, or how good a human keeps himself attention to what's going on around them. But since a human is a slave and is imprisoned in the brain with this information that keeps on coming with these illusions and tricks and tricks of what the other people want from them, the body, the desires that you want of this earth, things that you really know that they mean nothing to you. You're not going to take them with you. You are not going to and then someone decides that this is what I'm here to work for, when truly this is a paradise which was given to all humans, but a certain group of humans decided that they should be hierarchical, or build a hierarchy whereby they can deny other humans to take part of enjoying themselves, and they can be prisoners and enslaved to this earth to work for them, so they can enjoy their sick addictions that their bodies cannot control, their sexual desires, their manipulation desires, their aggressive desires. You see, when you eat an animal, you start craving for things that animal crave, or you start craving for things that are more dangerous. because you are now turned into an animal that in need of blood. So you probably find yourself, most people in the world are so angry. That's why you see lions are eaten in all over the world. In Africa, they've eaten almost the lions to extinction. They eat the baboons. They eat them. They're eating everything because human has turned into an animal, a very dangerous one at that. The one that doesn't know the difference between good and bad, but they just want to satisfy their need. A God that has lost his way and it's being pushed into to serve the body, but not itself to experience what it created the body for. It's supposed to be a symbiosis with the body and soul to work together. But it seems like the body is working against the soul, whereby they think that they are animals and they've built up hierarchies like in the animal, somewhat in the animal kingdom. Remember, man, these people choose what they want about the animal. What excites them about the animal, like they like the lion because it excites them about how it dominates the females and tries to. But these are sick people. These are sick individuals who are mutants who have turned into this 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 aggressive, and we have not checked them to bring them to an understanding. They reflect their aggressive and animalistic behavior passed on to their kids, and so the kids and they pass them to their grandkids, and it becomes a domino effect where nature is being attacked by the creation that it created, and that experience of God, the lower side of God, seems to be in power, and it doesn't care what it destroys. For those who have never heard about North Africa, Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Morocco, those parts of Africa, it's a desert, most of it now. But scientifically, scientists have found that that was not a desert before, which is true. Because you have to think for yourself, what happened? When did these people start eating these animals and started, and then the animals did not plant, did not fertilize, did not stampede the earth so it can graze, and its manure can make the fertile land again. And these animals were eaten and pushed out to extinction. These lakes were eaten dry because your thirst for destroying nature, eating of animals, is a problem to nature and to you. But since you don't, most of you have decided to turn the other cheek or the other way and not listen, you shouldn't be complaining when you're living in hell, because you are the product of hell, and you are the one letting the system that oppresses and demonizes nature. You are the ones who want the lower side of God to stay in power, because you are having a comfortable life and you don't want to change any of your addictions that are harmful to other humans. if you do, and go through your, I'm not saying I had my part of addictions, drugs, alcohol, um, women. I had my addictions. These ones, I did not harm anybody. I was harming myself. But the addiction of eating meat sometimes brought the rage where I started to fight with people. But until you know that the rage comes from that desire, that killing desire that you have, that psychopathic desire you created, that program that was put into your mind that is now affecting your brain mentally and spiritually, you have to stop what you're doing. You have to stop what you're doing to other humans because they're getting paid good money that you should harm other humans. Teach the kids the best things in life. Teach the kids the truth and stop going with the enforcement lies of religions and depending on something to take care of you. Because everybody was brought into this life. Mother was supposedly the human was supposed to have milk when you're born. She was supposed to feed you milk. The lands were fertile. The fertile land to grow crops, keep the trees growing, fruits of any kind. You could travel whatever you want. But I guess some of you never saw that. I've never seen that. So you don't think that a paradise exists on this earth. Well, guess what? If you want a good retirement, you have to respect nature. That being said, God, till we meet again. Okay, God.